comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
Ooh. What's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Popcast. I am DK Wrestler.
And I am not MD Shady. I am Robbie D.
Just wanted to kick off with the whole woo there to see how long I could go, and it probably cut out knowing how Zoom works here. But yeah, Robbie D, or as I'm going to call him from now on, the MVP, Robbie D, for coming in clutch last minute to join us here on a Funko Popcast, as MD Shady last minute could not make it due to some issues he's having at his house via a sewer being backed up in his basement. And even I quote through a message from MD Shady, literally saying, I have to shower and get the literal off my body. So he's been dealing with a lot. He needs some rest. It's understandable. Yeah, so thank you to Robbie D for coming in clutch last minute on joining us here on a Funko Popcast. So
Not a problem.
Yeah, so I guess I should mention what's going to be going on with this podcast here. So, of course, we are going to talk about the latest Funko Pops announcements, which range, I believe, from October 11th to October 18th. And then, obviously, we'll be coming in clutch, or we'll be coming, I keep mentioning that, coming in clutch. I'm so used to saying that now. We'll be doing our segment, What's the Haps, which we did that last week, but I guess it'll be entirely new because it's What's the Haps with Robbie D also, since he hasn't been on the pod since the Fortnite fandom related podcast that happened about a month ago, I want to say at this point now, which I guess a little bit of a, shameless plug if you haven't yet, go view our Fortnite fandom related podcast. So I guess What's the Haps, the segment, if you are brand new to this podcast, where we talk about what we have been doing, whether it's playing video games, watching TV series or movies, or just what life has brought us in general, anything that's been going on. So I guess normally it'd be MD Shady going first, but MD Shady's not here. So Robbie D, what's the haps with you? I know you got a lot going on. Weddings coming up. The child is almost here. You got to talk about those.
Well, I mean, good segue. So, yeah. I'm getting married December 17th, and honestly, it's getting very exciting, but also it can be very nerve-wracking at times. But I'm trying to stay positive. And you mentioned the child. Yes, I do have a baby girl on the way, due November 30th. So, I mean, it's cutting it kind of close with, the wedding being maybe like 2 weeks and a couple days after. But, I think I'm ready to be a dad, and little Miss Harmony Rose is going to be very spoiled. And we're definitely awaiting her long-awaited debut to the world, as we will call it. But yeah, other than that, working quite a bit lately. Been playing Fortnite more often lately. I tried playing last night a bit, but I mean, I got through maybe like one solo round, and I was like, you know what? It's not for me tonight. I'm not feeling it. So I've been watching some Twitch streams lately. There is one in particular that I've been watching more often than not, and that is a guy named Watery Shoe. I think he's based out of California. He's always got positive energy and lots of good vibes in his chat and everything. So it's been a lot of fun. Other than that, I've been watching some Criminal Minds when I get the chance. I'm on season 13 right now. They just added season 13 to Disney Plus, so I'm happy about that. I don't have to use a VPN to stream Criminal Minds until now season 14 and 15. But other than that, that's pretty much it. What's the haps with you, DK?
A little bit of Fortnite, more than I have been lately, especially because I think like last Saturday and Sunday have been like my only 2 days in the last little while where like I actually had nothing to do, whether it was work or actually making YouTube videos. So it was a little bit relaxing. So I've been able to play a little bit of Fortnite, even though not really a fan of this season, like I mentioned last week on What's the Haps, because of, this tier 100 skin being Spider-Gwen. But I mean, Fortnitemares just debuted yesterday as we're recording this podcast. So that's been a little fun there. Also, Tim Hortons Hockey Challenge on the app there to predict who's going to score and get some points. I actually have to predict some of the players for today as terms to watching things. So Disney Plus, I mean, She-Hulk season finale was last week, and it was a pretty interesting way of finishing off the season because I think they have confirmed a season 2 happening. And then I still have to catch up on the recent episodes of Star Wars Andor. I wasn't really getting into it all that much. I only watched, I think, episodes 1 to 3, and I think they may be on 6 or 7 at this point. So I got a little bit of catching up to do, but also I have been spending a lot of my time on Disney Plus watching Pixar movies, which I mentioned on the podcast last week, which I think I mentioned the latest movie I watched was Cars 2. And I've been going through a lot of Pixar movies. And last night I watched or rewatched, I should say, because I've seen every Pixar movie. Luca, I rewatched that last night. And so I have to watch now, I believe, Turning Red and Lightyear again. Before I finish all of the Pixar movies in preparation for our upcoming Pixar podcast. Yeah, that's basically it. There's nothing really new. There was more stuff to talk about last week, I guess, than there was this week.
Speaking of new, screw the goo gun in Fortnite. I
Oh,
don't
the
like
goo
it.
gun. Yeah.
I don't
And
like it.
what about screw the fact that they removed the saplings from the trees, or at least
I'm
there's a
so
glitch going
disappointed.
on because my tree at the moment, it needs weeding. And when I weed it, it's a mythic. So once I remove that, my tree's gone. So I'm afraid of just weeding it because maybe if they remove or if they bring back the saplings, then I can just, go back to normal. And, once the tree's gone, then it'll go to weeding it again and getting some blue guns off the tree. So that has been really irritating as terms to the game as of late. But I don't know if you have anything more to say before I move on to the Funko Pops from
Nope.
this past
That-
week. All right,
That's
we're
all I had
good.
to add. We're
All
good.
right. Screw the goo gun. That is the motto for today. I was going to say Monday motivation, but it's Wednesday as we're recording this. Would it be like Wisdom Wednesday? Screw goo gun. All right. I guess
Yes.
that's what it is. Wisdom Wednesdays here on a Funko podcast, even though this is going to be released on a Friday or a Saturday, depending on how content is. So, this first section of Funko Pop announcements will divide into 2 sections, but still obviously going from the 11th to the 18th. So, this first section of Funko Pops we're going to discuss about range from October 11th all the way until Friday, October 14th. So, kicking off first, we have ourselves announced by Toys R Us Canada is a Hufflepuff Jeffrey for the Harry Potter Toys R Us crossover lineup for the Ad Icons lineup, of which that is available now both in stores and online. On October 12th, It Sugar had announced their own exclusive pop of a glow-in-the-dark blue raspberry Sour Patch Kid, which that is available now both online and in stores. On October 13th, Funko had confirmed the pops featured in the recent drop, I guess I can say now, of the Funko Halloween Series 2 or 2022, as they keep mentioning it, NFT drop, which we have ourselves first Reaper Freddy, which was limited to 1,550 pieces. Invisible Freddy, which is the Grail, limited to 999 pieces. Jack-o'-lantern Freddy, which is the Royalty, which is limited to 3,000 pieces. Krampus Freddy, Phantom Freddy, and Space Zombie Freddy, which all of those are limited to 1,550 pieces, which the cards did release yesterday as of the recording of this podcast, and of course sold out. Then on October 14th, Funko Europe had announced their own exclusive pop of a birthday Freddy Funko, which this is available now to get for free if you purchase over 50 pounds or more on the Funko Europe website. On that same day, FYE had announced their own exclusive pop of Stitch with Cuffs from Lilo and Stitch, which that is available now both online and in stores. Once again, on that same day, Funko had announced a Rush Pop albums of Exit Stage Left, in which that is expected to release as early as January 2023. Once again, continuing on that same day, Funko had announced a new set of She-Hulk Funko Pops, which all of the pops are of She-Hulk, but we have a regular She-Hulk, a glow-in-the-dark She-Hulk, which will be exclusive to Amazon, and then a 10-inch She-Hulk, which will be exclusive to Target, and that's expected to release as early as November 2022. And last but not least, on that day, we have ourselves a Silver Chrome Stormtrooper as a part of a Pop and Tea bundle for the Star Wars lineup, in which that is available now in stores and has been for quite a bit now.
kicking off with Jeffrey the Giraffe dressed in Hufflepuff gear. We've seen the other houses so far now, and I think so far my favorite obviously is Slytherin because technically, if we want to consider what houses we think we're in, I definitely think that Slytherin is the house for me. Overall, this is a really nice pop. I'm glad that Toys R Us went down the line of making Jeffrey with different Harry Potter themed outfits with Funko. Moving on to the It's Sugar exclusive glow in the dark blue raspberry Sour Patch Kid. I like it. Be nice to see what it looks like in person rather than this glam shot that we're looking at, but by the looks of the glam, it looks like it'll be a nice glow in the dark pop. Moving on to the NFT Funko Pops for the Funko Halloween Series 2 set, or in this case, like you mentioned, Funko calls it the 2022, but that's okay. We'll kick off with Reaper Freddy, which is very detailed in my opinion. This looks really, really nice, and I've got no complaints. I mean, you've got some skulls, it looks like underneath the Reaper Freddy, by the looks of the glam, and then you got the crown on his head as well. Overall, just this pop looks amazing. Then we've got Invisible Freddy. Again, looks pretty nice. It's all decked up in a suit. It's got a briefcase, got a crown. I mean, all the Freddy Funkos have crowns, I'm pretty sure. Moving on to what I think will be my favorite of the set is the Jack-O-Lantern Freddy. There's just something about like pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns that look really, really cool, and especially in Funko Pop form. I think they nailed this one pretty well. Then we've got Krampus Freddy, which not my favorite of the bunch, but I mean, overall, it looks pretty detailed as well. We've got Phantom Freddy. Looks like the Phantom of the Opera. I'm pretty sure that's where it's coming from. It looks amazing as well. And then finally, the Space Zombie Freddy. Very, very detailed. Moving on to the Funko Europe Birthday Cake Freddy. You mentioned orders over 50 pounds on the Funko Europe website. Then you get this. Looks pretty amazing, I'd have to say. Plainly detailed. You've got the birthday cake with a, looks like obviously number 2, which means I'm guessing it's some sort of anniversary type thing, which again, really nice. Moving on to the Stitch with Cups. I don't know what to say about this pop, honestly. I'm not a huge fan. Moving on to the Rush pop albums of Exit Stage Left. I don't think I've listened to any of Rush's music either recently or at all, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have an opinion on their music, but this pop, obviously, it's depicted very well with the album itself. So, I mean, great job on Funko's end that way. Moving on to She-Hulk, like you said, we've got the original, the Glow in the Dark, which is the Amazon exclusive, and we've got the 10-inch She-Hulk, which is a Target exclusive. I haven't watched the series yet, and I know I said I was going to, but I've been busy with other things, so I mean, obviously, I guess I could binge it at some point now. But overall, I think these look really well. And finally, we've got the Silver Chrome Stormtrooper that's a part of the Star Wars Pop and Tea bundle. It's a Chrome Pop, and I know yours and MD's opinions on Chrome Pops sometimes. And I mean, overall, it's a Star Wars Stormtrooper pop. So I mean, it looks pretty cool. Stormtroopers are one of my favorite characters, even though, like you've mentioned before, I've only watched 30 minutes of A New Hope. But I don't know. I like this, but Silver Chrome, eh.
All right, so kicking off with the Hufflepuff Jeffrey for the Harry Potter Ad Icons mashup lineup here. And this is all right. I mean, we've already seen, obviously, the Slytherin one, and I believe Ravenclaw was announced. And we kind of already knew about this also, just by judging after Slytherin. And there was 3 silhouettes of the exact same shape that we're going to get all of the houses. It's just different colors. So there wasn't really much of like a surprise element there. I had seen this pop before it was announced. There was the video we recently did on the pop hunt where MD and I went to Toys R Us and we got some pops at Sunrise for $5. And we seen this, and it was originally unannounced, and I was actually pretty sure it was announced like later on in the day. So technically by the time the video released, which I believe was a Thursday, that this was an announced pop, but this is okay. I mean, we got one more to go, which obviously is Gryffindor, and I'm sure a lot of people would want that because that clearly is, I guess you could say, the most popular house, even though Slytherin's pretty up there for popular houses. Then we got ourselves the glow-in-the-dark Sour Patch Kid, the blue raspberry Sour Patch Kid, I should say. And this is all right. I mean, we've already gotten a regular one. We've gotten the Diamond Collection one, which I guess makes sense because of the like sour speckles on there. But glow-in-the-dark, I mean, the only way I could see this being pretty decent is if they were to actually bring the green Sour Patch Kid, the lime one, which I highly doubted because that was a 1,500 piece Emerald City Comic Con exclusive from 2019. And I don't know the likeliness of them wanting to do that and then make that glow in the dark, which would be cool because green is a great color glow in the dark that I have mentioned. I want to say at this point, because I've used the phrase 1,001 times, it's probably like 1,015 times at this point since I've said that. So 1,015 times I've mentioned that green is a great color when it comes to glow in the dark. Then we got ourselves the Halloween Series 2 or Halloween Series 2022, as they mentioned on their website, but it does say Halloween Series 2 on the box. Reaper Freddy looks pretty decent. I like the whole skeleton theme, and especially because it's got a really cool base involved with popified skeletons and what looks to be some sort of like smoke effect. I can't really tell because it's in the box and not an out of box like glam shot like we normally see. The Invisible Freddy is okay. I'm kind of glad that that's the grail because I feel like it is like the least hyped and like not the greatest out of this entire set. Jack-o'-lantern Freddy, this one is one of the better pops as terms of the set, and I know a lot of people were hyped about this. Krampus Freddy Funko, this is okay. I mean, I like the red eyes that and how they pop out from the white fur involved with Krampus. And I mean, it definitely makes sense for them to do that for a Halloween themed pop. Phantom Freddy, which I think was MD Shady's favorite pop of this set. It's very simplistic, but it's awesome because it's like Phantom of the Opera, like you mentioned, and it looks pretty sweet. And then you got the Space Zombie Freddy, which I think is my favorite out of this set because of how detailed it is with not only the outfit, but of course the head sculpt involved with Freddy, where he has that like bluish skin. You got the skeleton look with the teeth, and then you have like some sort of like octopus looking thing on his head there, which looks pretty decent. Maybe it's not it kind of looks like an octopus though, but probably not. It's probably some sort of like flesh that's fallen. And also the mask, or not the mask, but like the visor, I guess, on the astronaut helmet is broken, and you can see that with the shard of glass that's still there on the helmet, which I think is really awesome. Then we got ourselves the birthday cake Freddy Funko, and this is a wicked pop actually. I'm not entirely the biggest fan of Freddy Funko Pops, but this one they did a really good job on it, and I think this is better than the birthday one they did last year, I believe. And I really like the detail with the balloons in his hands. He's coming out of the cake. And a lot of people were really, I guess, if there was any bad hype in terms of this pop, it's the fact that Freddy is holding the Union Jack flag, which is more of the UK, rather than actually having some sort of European flag to represent the entire continent of Europe. Stitch with Cuffs, the FYE exclusive. This is all right. I mean, we've seen a lot of Stitch pops, and I can't exactly remember about the scene that this is involved with. We got the Rush Exit Stage Left pop albums, and this is pretty decent, actually. I mean, I like how they executed this album, but there is a lot of bad hype because there was a lot of different options that you could have done with a Rush pop albums instead of this one, because this is actually a live album and not a studio album like a lot of the pop albums that get made. This is almost kind of the situation we got where they did the deluxe albums of Queen, whereas the greatest hits, which obviously it's not a studio album, it's literally a greatest hits of compilation of like their greatest songs put into one singular album. So having this one is a little weird to kick off Rush's pop albums because there's so many. Like you could have done Fly By Night with the owl on the front, which I think would have been awesome. You could have done oh man, I can't even remember the album name now off the top of my head, but not 2112. That one I definitely would remember, but there's a couple other ones I can't remember. But I do also want to mention to you, Robbie, you definitely have heard of Rush, and I'm mentioning that because us being huge fans of Trailer Park Boys, Bubbles playing the song Closer to the Heart, that song is by Rush. It's cool that Rush is getting their own pop albums overall, but I felt that Exit Stage Left was not the perfect one to kick off with, in my opinion. Then we got ourselves the She-Hulk pops, which this is decent. I mean, it's obviously all of She-Hulk. It's just either it's a specification or it's a size form But I mean, it's cool that we have this version of She-Hulk because of the fact that we did not get anything She-Hulk related besides obviously the like gala glitter version we talked about on the podcast last week until now, because we didn't get this form. We had this form actually in a Funko Soda form for FunCon a few months ago. And then now we have it in pop form, which is pretty cool. I like this. I like the pop form better than the soda, especially because she's kind of flexing there. She's got her outfit that was customly made right there. So that's pretty decent. And then the glow in the dark, I mean, it kind of makes sense, I guess, for it to be glow in the dark, but I like it because of the fact, like I've mentioned, I guess, was it now 1016 times if we're keeping track, that green is a great color when it comes to glow in the dark. So, I mean, I'll let that slide. And then the 10-inch form, it makes sense, but it doesn't because obviously when She-Hulk gets into that Hulk form, she grows bigger in size, but 10-inch compared to a 4-inch pop, that's a little bit too much in my opinion. And then last but not least, we have the Pop and Tea bundle of the Silver Chrome Stormtrooper from Star Wars. And yeah, not entirely the biggest fan of Chrome, but I kind of can accept this because it's the closest thing to match white. But I think what makes up for it is that wicked looking t-shirt that it comes with. And then even though we don't have a photo of the box on this, we don't really need to get into the boxes because Funko Pop and Tea bundle boxes aren't entirely the greatest as it is.
Are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca using our code of Funko Popcast to get 10% off.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code of Funko Popcast for 10% off.
All right, so moving on to the next section of pops, which range from October 17th and October 18th. So kicking off with October 17th, Funko had announced a set of pops for the, I believe it's Apple TV series Luck, which we have pops of Bob the Captain, Sam Greenfield, Sam as Leprechaun with a purple glitter chase, and Jeff, which these are expected to be released as early as January 2023. On that same day, Funko had announced a pop of Pony Sunatori from My Hero Academia, which that's going to be a Hot Topic exclusive, and it's expected to release as early as December 2022. Then on that same day, Brian Mariotti of Funko had announced 2 new Huckleberry Hound pops of Huckleberry Hound holding a book, which that book specifically, I can't remember the title, but it has to do with talking about the different collectibles of Hanna-Barbera, which that will be available today as we are recording this podcast, which the pop will be given out for free if you purchase a Hanna-Barbera collectibles book, which the normal version, which is limited to 5,000 pieces, will be given out if you buy the regular version of the book for 50 US, but the flocked and glitter version, which is limited to 1,000 pieces, will be given out if you buy the hardcover edition for 75 US. Then on October 18th, Funko had announced a set of pops for the video game of Overwatch 2, which we got ourselves pops of Reaper, Echo, Cassidy, and a 10-inch Echo that will be glow in the dark, exclusive to Walmart, and these are expected to release as early as January 2023. On that same day, Funko had confirmed on their eBay store of a Funko Shop exclusive Magic Johnson for the NBA lineup, which that is available now on the eBay website. Unknown yet of when it's releasing on Funko.com and HQ and Everett stores. Or not HQ and Everett, HQ and Hollywood stores. And last but not least, Chalice Collectibles had announced their own exclusive pop of a glow-in-the-dark Spider-Man with Nano Gauntlet from Avengers Endgame, which that's expected to release as early as February 2023.
All right, so kicking off with the Luck Funko Pops. I don't think this will be a series that I plan on watching at all. And like you mentioned, it's probably an Apple TV series. Other than that, looking at the pops overall, they all look pretty detailed. I do like the Sam as Leprechaun, and that purple glitter chase looks really nice as well. Moving on to Pony Sunatori. Glad I didn't butcher that name. And surprisingly, you didn't really butcher that name when it comes to anime pops. You usually do, but that's okay. Overall, this pop looks really nice as well. It's pretty simplistic, looks really nice though, really detailed with the horns and the outfit and everything. Looks pretty good. Reading up, I am actually reading your post on Instagram of the Huckleberry Hound with book. It is the Hanna-Barbera Around the World book from what I'm reading here. Overall, this pop looks really nice, and the way that you get it, obviously, like you mentioned, it'll be given out if you buy the hardcover edition, which is the Flocked and Diamond Glitter Huckleberry Hound. Other than that, the other one is limited to 5,000 pieces and given to those who buy the actual Around the World book. Very interesting, very detailed. I'm glad that Funko comes up with ways of like selling certain pops like this as an example. Moving on to the Overwatch pops. Overwatch. I don't know what to say. I mean, I haven't played the game to even know about these characters, but overall, like the design of the pops, they all look really nice, especially Echo. I think Echo is really well done, and even the 10-inch glow in the dark by the glam looks pretty nice. Cassidy, he's all geared up and ready, and then even Reaper looks exceptionally well done. Moving on to one of the legends of the LA Lakers, Magic Johnson. What more can you say? I mean, obviously, Funko keeps pushing out different LA Lakers legends, different NBA legends in general. I don't know how many Magic Johnsons they've done now, but overall, this looks pretty nice. He's in like one of those like poses where he's kind of like got his one arm to the side and he's holding the ball in the palm of his hand. You know, it's not like one of those pops where we see like dunking or whatever, but overall, this pop looks really nice in general. Finally, we move on to the Chalice Collectibles exclusive pop of the glow in the dark Spider-Man with Nano Gauntlet. Chalice Collectibles does really great jobs of coming up with different exclusive pops, and especially this Spider-Man with Nano Gauntlet. Honestly, amazing. I absolutely love Spider-Man, one of my favorite Marvel heroes of all time. And the fact that it glows in the dark, I mean, looking at this glam video that was posted, the glow looks pretty nice, but again, it's one of those you have to see it in person rather than, some sort of glam photo or glam video.
All right, so kicking off with the Luck Pops, and yeah, I have not seen Luck, and I know there's a bit of hype as terms to the comments on social media about Luck Pops, and then there's some people that are mentioning who asked for this. These characters look interesting, and I mean, yeah, the glitter chase looks pretty decent, especially with the purple splatter, which I don't know what the significance is as terms to the series involved with that, but that's pretty decent. And then some of these characters like Jeff on the bottom left reminds me of a character from Onward that I just recently rewatched for the Pixar podcast. Then we got the My Hero Academia pop, which I'm still not even entirely sure if I actually butchered the name or not. And if I didn't, then I'd be surprised because I feel like I might have butchered it a little bit. But overall, the My Hero Academia Class 1B exclusives, they've been pretty decent thus far, even though I don't remember any of the characters yet. I have seen My Hero Academia once through before, at least until the end of Season 4. I have not seen Season 5, nor I think Season 6 is out now, and I haven't seen that either. But it looks like also we have one more pop to go for this set left, so I'm kind of excited to see what this character looks like because I can't clearly remember what the character is. But this one's pretty simplistic. I wouldn't say it is one of the better pops, but I wouldn't say it's one of the worst pops either as terms to this set. Then we got ourselves the Huckleberry Hound pops, both the regular version and we have ourselves the Flocked Diamond Collection version. This is pretty decent, and I like the idea of the double specification on it, especially because I can only assume that the fur is going to be flocked, and then let's say like the hat is going to be glitter, which I do enjoy, especially for a pop that's only limited to 1,000 pieces to give some sort of extra oomph to it. I think that's pretty decent, and the regular one still looks pretty decent, but if you are able to get that Flocked and Diamond Collection version, I think that's the one you're going to really want to get. Then we got ourselves some Overwatch 2 pops, which I have only played the first Overwatch a couple of times. And I mean, it's an okay game, I guess. I know that MD was a huge fan of Overwatch back in the day, and he was actually collecting almost a 100% complete set of Overwatch pops and then all of a sudden stopped. But I mean, with how many different kinds of pops he collects, I mean, it's understandable with some sets he's got to stop because he's not going to get 100% of everything, especially he wants a 100% set of The Simpsons. He wants a 100% set of Stranger Things, but he collects a lot of 100% sets that are humongous sets, and Overwatch is a huge task to do as terms to trying to get a 100% complete set. And especially now that there is a second game out, who knows how many pops there are going to be for that game. And I mean, I remember there being, I believe, a Cassidy in the first one, but for sure there were a lot of Reapers. And I mean, this one's okay, but I remember that one, I think it was called the Hellfire Reaper. That was a Walmart exclusive from 2019 that came out. And I thought that was a really cool looking Reaper and probably the best one they made, in my opinion. This one is all right. And then, I mean, the Echo is also looking pretty cool. And then with the glow in the dark version, that's a 10-inch. I mean, it's cool that it's not just the head that glows in the dark, it's part of the fingertips. And I think part of the wings I'm looking at here and like the feet there also glow in the dark too. Then we got ourselves the Magic Johnson pop, and this is pretty decent. I mean, it's cool to see a change instead of, let's say, your like 13th Michael Jordan pop for the lineup. And I believe this might actually be the, I want to say, 4th Magic Johnson pop, because I know they did one for TargetCon this year with a red jersey. I think they did the regular version with a yellow jersey, I think, or a purple, I can't remember, but simplistic pose. And then I think Magic Johnson was part of that Dream Team 92 set that they did late last year. I think, I can't exactly remember, but if that's the case, and then possibly there might have been a 10-inch, I don't know. I don't really concentrate on the NBA lineup because there's so many pops made, especially when they make like 5 of the same players, especially with the pop trading cards we talked about last week on the podcast. There was a few of the players that have been made so many times in pop form, so I lose track of NBA, but overall, this is a pretty decent NBA pop, I guess, especially for it being an exclusive. And last but not least, we have ourselves the Spider-Man with the Nano Gauntlet from Avengers Endgame, glow-in-the-dark pop. Like, I don't know why they're continuing Avengers Endgame pops when first that movie came out in 2019. It's been a while, and especially that all they're doing for new pops is making already existing pops and just slapping a specification on it. I hate seeing that, especially with the Thor pop that was also a Chalice Collectibles exclusive where there's a chase and both of them are glow in the dark, except it's just a slight different hand positioning or with an added different weapon. I don't exactly remember, but it wasn't the greatest. And I mean, if this is all we're going to see in the Avengers Endgame lineup going forward, it's like, what's even the point of getting it? But anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of this week's edition of a Funko Podcast. If you enjoyed this week's podcast, make sure you smash that like button, comment in the comment section below, and let me know what was your favorite Funko Pop announcement from this week. Press the subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this week's podcast, and we hope to see you guys next time. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Keep on popping.